What is up, guys? McIntyre here, bringing you a new video today. I wanted to start a new series on my channel every Tuesday. It's something that I haven't been doing recently, but I would like to start trying to do again, and that is making tier list videos. So we're gonna have a tier list Tuesday now on my YouTube channel. Every Tuesday, I'm gonna update my tier list for the current patch, where I think heroes are at, and I continue to, push forward with this list and talk about why heroes are where they are at. So this is gonna be a rough draft of it, as this is going to be the first one that I've done in a while, but I will talk about why I think heroes are tier 1, why I think heroes are tier 2, and what maybe would help heroes from tier 3 and tier 4 to come up within the tier list. A good example of coming up would be, I think Butcher on this list right now is currently tier 4, but if he were to get stacks and keep them, and maybe once he got a certain stack level, like 125 meat, then he would permanently get a buff. So Blizzard has obviously done that, but we're going over the tier list right now. This is the Greymane Nerf patch 7/24 to 2016. Currently, there are no tier S heroes. I don't believe that any heroes right now are dominating the scene. I find that at the moment, it's not as if the game is balanced, but it's not like you must have this pick or you lose. A lot of the tier 1s, we're going to fall into that now. As I have it categorized, wins fights for team without a real team. And kind of the idea of this is that these heroes can win a fight even if your team is just playing Rainer and right-clicking. Let's put it that way. So to start, we have warriors, and my favorite warrior still to this day is Muradin. He is the highest on the tier list. I think the self-sustain that he has and the damage that he brings with his give him the axe and his thunderclap reverberation just really helps out team fights. He can 1v1 a lot of heroes. His stun causes engages, and I just think that he, as a warrior, is the best at the moment at being kind of the front line man. So second up is going to be Arthas. Arthas is another self-sustainable warrior. I think both of these heroes are there because they sustain themselves, which means you do not need a support necessarily to be target healing you in any way at all. You can just kind of run around and control a team fight. Arthas also has a attack speed reduction through his E at 13 talent. He has a slow through his E. He has a form of CC through his W. He has more built-in sustain through his Q. He can 1v1 lots of heroes. He wins lane. A lot of good things going on with Arthas. The third is going to be Tyrael. Tyrael is there because of the utility that he brings. He gets heroes out of jail for free. He creates pressure. With Sanctification, a lot of the times you can save someone from getting one shot from, let's say, a Chromie, which happens a lot of times. I think Tyrael is in a good spot currently. I hope that Blizzard doesn't keep changing him. I just want them to buff other heroes and keep him the way he is. I would like follow through to be a little bit stronger, or his base auto to be stronger with his attack speed decreased, but that's another story. So let's go into range, or I guess just assassins, not even ranged. The first one's going to be Falstad. Falstad has dominated Heroes of the Storm for the past months. He continues to do so. I believe it has to do with his global through his Z, his 1v1 potential, and Gust. Gust is great in Hero League. Being able to gust people away from your team and saving someone is awesome. Being able to gust the other team into your team and winning a team fight is also great. The fact that he brings wave clear as well with his 7 boomerang talent, I think that Falstad is just the overall package for ranged assassins when it comes to Hero League. Second's going to be Li Ming. I like Li Ming because of her reset potential in Hero League. It only takes one kill with Li Ming to win a team fight for your team. Even if your team runs in and suicides during that time period, you should be able to get damage in. And if one of your teammates does manage to pick up a kill, then you can, swing that in your team's favor and continue to get more resets. This is also why I take Calamity build on Li-Ming almost 100% of the time in Hero League. I know a lot of you guys might like Seeker build, but I would suggest Calamity build because of the reset potential and the ability to win team fights for your team. Thrall is kind of the same way as Li-Ming in the fact that he can win team fights when your team is doing poorly. So if your team engages bad and the other team engages into them because they're like, why wouldn't we kill this person? Thrall with Sunder can just blow that team fight out. A good Sunder can get a pick on a support hero. It can kill a backline hero. Sorry, I'm a little... Yeah. It can kill a backline hero. It can kill a frontline hero. Thrall does everything. Giant Killer with Wind Fury, Bolt. He can get picks in the late game. He can win lane in the early game. He's just the most threatening melee assassin in Hero League to me. And a lot of it comes from his Sunder, his Wolf, and his pick ability. The fourth, which is going to be interesting to most, is going to be the Tychus, actually. The Tychus pick to me is something that I just recently made a video on, but I believe that Tychus is in a great spot right now for Hero League, and he's a very punishing hero when it comes to team fighting. A lot of the time, people don't focus Tychus, and if they do, you still can duel them one-on-one for the most part. He chunks frontline, and a lot of players don't know how to play Warrior when they do have to in Hero League. He, again, can 1v1 anyone, and he has great kind of area control with his laser and just his ability to post up and minigun. I really like Tychus right now. He also has pretty good wave clear and self-sustain with his 13 talent. The last is going to be Kerrigan. So after the recent nerf, after the buff, I still think that Kerrigan's in a good spot for Hero League. A good combo and a pick can just win you the team fight outright. Most of the time because of the buff, a lot of players now know how to play with Kerrigan. So you're not going to not get followed up. The only problem with her that you have to really worry about is that you do have some sort of follow-up. Picking her blindly can sometimes punish you, just like Illidan. A lot less so than Illidan, but if you pick her and your teammate has Nazeebo Hammer, then you probably are going to have a bad time. So be careful with her, but I still think that she is a tier 1 assassin. The next is going to be Specialist. We're going to talk about Zagara first. After the Zagara buff, she has just become a dominant laner, pusher, split pusher, sieger, poker. She does it all. She's really powerful. She brings tons of utility with her vision through creep. I think Zagara right now is really imbalanced, actually, and I hate her in the game currently. She brings a lot of anti-fun mechanics through her push and her siege power. It almost feels like the other team doesn't have to fight you if they have Zagara, because her banelings will eventually get to you. So that's why I don't like her, but she is tier 1 because of her playstyle and her strength right now. The second hero, just like Zagara, but a little more tame in some cases, but more fierce in others, is Sylvanas. Sylvanas on maps like Battlefield for Eternity, Infernal Shrines, these maps where sieging becomes important, even Tomb of the Spider Queen. She can punish the enemy teams for losing objectives early, and in Hero League a lot of the times, even though teams have a stronger objective fight, they will lose the objective because they play it incorrectly. And if you ever have Sylvanas on your team, when you've won an objective on these maps, then you can snowball your team to an advantage that is almost impossible to lose. I know a lot of times I've gotten Sylvanas on BOE and just outright gotten a keep right off the beginning of the first boss. So she's overpowered on some maps and underpowered on others. But because of that, she is tier 1. The tier 1 supports are going to be Rhaegar and Uther. Rhaegar being a tier 1, he's always been consistent. Ancestral healing's great. He has jungle power. He has wave clear. He has a slow. He has good sustain, like AoE sustain through chain heal. He's great at 1v1ing. He's just a powerful support hero and one of my favorites to play in Hero League. The second is going to be Uther. Uther, again, decent sustain with his W build. He has great solo healing, targeted healing. He also brings cleanse and D-shield. A good D-shield on a Kerrigan or a Greymane or somebody getting caught out can just turn a team fight. Uther also has the ability to die in the late game and come back to life. Sometimes you can sacrifice yourself at 20 to save someone, heal them, win a team fight, respawn, continue to heal them, push the team fight forward. Another thing that Uther has is shrink ray and stun. And these two things are, I think, why he's so high for me, is as an Uther player, you can make a play for your team and find a pick. And a lot of supports don't have that ability. Rhaegar does with his slow totem. Uther does as well. But a support like Monk does not have that ability. So does, like, Brightwing does not have that ability, right? So these two supports both have a way to find picks. Even though they do not really bring a lot of damage to the pick, they still have a way to find one. So the next are going to be tier 2. I'm not going to talk so much about these, but I'm going to talk on why they are tier 2. Helps teams towards victory, strong picks. So essentially, the description of tier 2 is going to describe most of these heroes. They're all great at just being good picks. They're strong picks. You pick these heroes, you're never going to have a bad time in Hero League. I don't believe so. So go over the warriors super quick. Sonya. I still think Sonya is incredibly strong. She's great in the solo lane. She's good at jungling. She does objectives really well. If the other team doesn't focus her, you can just kill the other team yourself. I really like Sonya. I've always have, so she's going to be the top spot for my tier 2. Muradin is another one of those heroes. Self-sustain, hard to kill. He's got 2 forms of CC. Both can be used to get picks. His beetles actually siege really well on certain maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen and Dragonshire. So Anub's going to be a tier 2. Joanna, she's going to bring lots of wave clear with her Knight Takes Pawn talent. She also has a shield for engage, a slow, and a blind. The blind is a big deal. Blinding a Greymane when he's going for your Kael'thas is like the best thing you can do as Joe. And then right when the blind drops, stun him. Like, what can that Greymane do? Nothing. So that's why Joanna is, I think, still a really great pick, especially in competitive. This is not a competitive tier list, but I like Joanna a lot. Diablo is going to be the next pick. Diablo finds picks in Hero League. I don't care what anybody says. I know that he seems weak, and in competitive, he's not that great. But in Hero League, people overextend. Your team understands the concept of Diablo is going to headbutt and slam the person backwards. A lot of times, this is easy for people to follow up on. And the next pick is going to be ETC. He's actually low now. I've moved him way down because I feel like with ETC, I never can do enough. Even though I get good slides, good moshes, I find picks. A lot of times, people don't follow up correctly. I never feel like I'm doing enough. I think ETC is a great pick when you're in the duo, if you're duo with somebody, but by yourself in a solo atmosphere, I do not like ETC that much. The Assassins, Greymane, still really strong hero. I think Cocktail build is awesome. Mark for the Kill and Go for the Throat are both great talents. He's got good wave clear. He's got good 1v1. He can find picks and team fights. So I still think he's a great hero to play. Jaina is another one, just like Greymane. Really good at putting out big damage, good follow-up, Ring of Frost. A good one can just win you the game outright. She has great wave clear. So Illidan, if you can play him, go for it. He's, I think, a tier 2 hero. He's great at pushing, great jungler, does objectives really well. He can boss. A lot of good things going on there with Illidan. Lunara, great poke, counters a lot of the supports. If you take Leaping Strike, you can just pick anybody, especially in Hero League. If you take Vines, you can poke the other team out. And the Wisp brings vision, which is really nice. Zeratul, kind of like, you know, he's like a mix. Zeratul's just really good because he can find picks. That's what Zeratul does. You just sit in the shadows, you chunk somebody out, you reset, you chunk somebody out, you reset, you VP, you get the kill. That's all Zeratul does. He's really good at Hero League. He just kind of plays his own rules. Valla is going to be the last range assassin. I think Valla is still really good. I don't know if she's going to be that great next patch. We'll have to find out. But I think right now, she still brings lots of early game damage. And is still a really strong pick. A new specialist that has brought up from the depths of the lower tiers is going to be Hammer. I don't know if Hammer's tier 1 yet, but I do think that the giving her focused attack at 4 with the bonus range base is really good for Hammer. It allows her to get good poke in. She has a pretty strong auto attack, so getting crits every auto is really good for her. And she's also a ranged assassin that has both first aid and stone skin. And so trying to kill Hammer and duel her is going to be difficult for most. And she still packs a heavy punch just through her autos. She also can siege really well if the enemy team has no way to deal with her. Zul is going to be the next specialist. Wave clear. Just bleed the other team out through wave clear. Just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. There's not much else to say about Zul. Medivh is the next one. Medivh is actually interesting. Medivh has the ability to 1v1 a lot of people. He can portal for ganks. He can get picks himself. He's annoying. He has vision. A good Medivh player can actually blow a game out. So I don't know if he's a higher tier than that, but I do think that he is a tier 2 hero at the moment. Abathur is going to be the same way as kind of Medivh. If played correctly, he can cause a lot of annoyance to the other team. You can get value through split. I'm just going to go right into the next one too. Vikings, both good split pushers. Split soak. If you have a good 4-man, these two picks are really strong. And the tier 2 supports, Monk. Monk, I think, is actually my favorite support at the moment. I just like playing him. I like punching stuff and supporting everybody. A good palm looks really sick. A good 7-sided strike can sometimes pick a tank. Bouncing around in team fights is really good. I think Monk has one of the best AoE heals in the game, so he is my favorite tier 2 support. Ariel is going to be the newest one. With her whip, bringing some form of CC, a good crystallize, and her AoE heals, I think she's really annoying to deal with, especially if the other team has a good source of damage. Doesn't matter what, but just a good source of damage. Brightwing is going to abuse the fact that she has a global. She can get global soak. She can blink in and get a pick. That's what makes Brightwing so good. If she blinks in and polys and then you find a pick, you get ahead that way. So I really like Brightwing as well. And Medic is going to be my lower tier 2 pick, but she's going to squeeze in. If the other team can't deal with Medic, she's incredible. So pick her if it's a good look. So we'll go over the tier 3s. I'm not going to talk too much about these as there's not much to say. Tier 3s are niche. They're strong if you play them. So we have our Warriors, Leoric. Every once in a while, he's pretty good with the wave clear. Stitches, the hook and the slam build can be really powerful. Shin can win lane. Rexar, his Misha can stun. Good follow-up. Kel'Thas is going to be our first assassin. Pretty good wave clear. They nerfed a lot of his stuff, so I don't think that he brings enough anymore. A lot of times you put out your damage when the team comes onto you, but it's not enough damage. Therefore, I'm not a huge fan of him anymore. The next is going to be Tracer. If you don't have a Tassadar or an Abathur or a Brightwing shield, Tracer has such a small health pool that every time you take damage, you just can't go back into a team fight. So I don't really like Tracer unless you're duo. So I have her tier 3. Nova is actually a fairly strong pick. Getting picks on Nova is easy to do. So she's not bad for that, but she doesn't bring wave clear. So if you draft Nova and then your team doesn't draft anything to help Nova, then she's a garbage pick. And for that reason, she is tier 3. Specialist, Nazeebo. I don't really know what to say about Nazeebo. He's not bad. He's not good. If you want to play him, God bless. The next is going to be Azmodan. Stacks. Can be good. If you get him stacked, he can be strong. His general can split push, but you have to get the stacks, right? So Murky, he's going to be garbage next patch, but he can get an Octo Puffer and get a pick in the late game to win the game. So he's pretty good. He's got a good laning phase as well. The supports Tassadar, because of the fallout of melee assassins, Tass's spot within the meta has kind of fallen out because he doesn't bring enough damage. He has a hard time pushing through double tanks and stuff like that. He just kind of doesn't do enough at the moment. Lily, I guess, is a good pick if you can't play support. With that said, she is strong in some cases, and I understand that a lot of people have success with her because they don't have to try with her. So if you like Lily, continue to play her. I have no issue with that, but I would suggest learning another support as I find them to be stronger. Tyrande, a good stun can win a good team fight, but Tyrande just doesn't have a lot else after that, so she's more of a duo. If you have a good duo, you can play the Tyrande. And then tier 4s, these are all just heroes that I just don't really like right now. I'm actually gonna change something up. Because I didn't say Gul'dan, but I'm going to put Chromie as a tier 3. I think Chromie actually can one-shot people from afar. And because of that, she gets placed there. But she needs a front line. And she needs the other team not to have something that can kill her easily. So now we go to tier 4s. These are, you're working really hard when you play these heroes. And you're working really hard for, like, what, you know? So our warriors are going to be Artanis. Like, he's got a cool mechanic. The 50% shield is really powerful. But, like, if he just gets focused, he dies. So he has a hard time. Dahaka, his Q is really slow and wonky. His R is wonky. You know, he does have global, but he has no way to get away. I don't really like him as a warrior. Gul'dan, he's like the mage version of Raynor, which is why Raynor and him are right beside of each other. They feel like they do a lot if your team's doing a lot already. But if your team's already doing a lot, then you could just be something else and be doing more with them. They're just kind of like constant DPS, but they're not gonna just win you a game, okay? Butcher, I hate him right now in the current patch, but I love him in this next patch. So he's gonna stay there for now. Specialist Gazlo, he got a buff, like the turret thing, like the duration can be pretty strong, but like any good ranged hero can kill turrets without turrets hitting them back. So for that, he's gonna stay where he's at. And Malfurion, we should just make it McIntyre. Just not enough. Just not enough, Malf. And then we have Cho'Gall as tier 5. If you're duo, go ahead. Be Cho'Gall mains. One trick it for life. But never rip that by yourself in Hero League. And just expect the person you're playing with to understand what you're doing. Just don't. It never works out. It just causes pain for everyone in the game. So that is my tier list, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I will be trying to put out these tier lists every Tuesday. If I don't feel like the tier list needs to be updated, then I will try to come out with something else, maybe talking about a high tier hero and why they're high tier, going more in depth into that. But with that said, thank you guys so much for hanging out on my video and checking it out. If you did enjoy yourself, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and throw a like on the video. I'm going to enjoy this PTR and I look forward to the newest patch. Also, if you would like to continue to follow me outside of YouTube, you can check out both my Twitch and Twitter, which will be located below, as well as I'll have a link to this tier list below my channel. Thank you guys again so much, and I will see you all next video. Cheers.